Hi guys, it's Michelle, Deception Bytes, and I don't have any new Q for you because Q has not been posting. Of course, there is that blackout that Q did warn us about, that there was going to be a blackout of his communications rather, and so that is what we are experiencing right now. However, we are waiting for something I think historic to come down the pipe. And I'm getting more and more confirmation of that it is coming up, and that is expected tomorrow. But from the sounds of it, I think that some are expecting it to possibly hit later today. Now, it's 6:03 p.m. and it's June 10th, and that is Eastern Standard Time. But so I don't know really what time they are expecting it or if it's expected tonight at all, but it is expected tomorrow. Now, I do believe that it has something to do with Julian Assange. I guess we will wait and find out. We've also got the historic Singapore meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un, and that is in Singapore. Now, so we've got lots happening this week, and I really do believe that this is going to be a big week. Now, let's hope that it's a big week for the reasons that we hope it is a big week and that it is good news rather than bad news, because I think that we've had just about enough of that. And I think that I speak for us all in wanting to see some resolutions and wanting to see some action taking place in terms of moving towards punishing those that indeed need to be punished. And we know who that is. So I do want to keep you guys caught up and kind of up to date with everything while we are waiting for that news, while we are waiting for Q to post, and to kind of keep you all encouraged as well, because I know that it's easy to get discouraged, and I speak that for myself as well. It's easy to get listening to the people that are spewing all this disinfo and get discouraged and start thinking, well, gosh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this really isn't happening the way I think it is. And, I hope that it is. I still believe in Q. I believe that we've seen more than adequate proof of Q, but time will tell. Now, let me just get you up to date here. So, as I said, Trump arrives in Singapore for historic meeting with Kim Jong-un, and he left the G7 meeting, which there was a kerfluffle there, which we'll get into a little bit. But for now, let's just get up to date on the Singapore meeting. So, U.S. President Trump arrives in Singapore for historic Trump-Kim summit. Not sure if there's anything new here, but United States President Donald Trump arrived in Singapore on Sunday, June 10th, 2 days ahead of the historic summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Now, they are set to meet on Tuesday, which is what is that? Today's the 10th, so 11th, 12th. Well, maybe I don't know, actually, because today is the 10th, and I, was under the impression that they met on Tuesday. Well, yeah, the two leaders are set to meet on Tuesday, so that would be the 11th, the 12th. The 12th. So for some reason, I thought they were meeting on the 14th. Not sure where I got the 14th from, except that I know that is President Trump's birthday. And oh, yes, the Inspector General's report is expected out on the 14th. So really busy week news-wise, and I am going to keep up on it as much as I can. So I'm trying to get some of my work out of the way so that I'll have more time this week to report on happenings, because I think it's going to happen very quickly, and I think that it's going to be hard to keep up. That's just my 2 cents, and I might be right and I might be wrong. Okay, so they're meeting at Tuesday at the Capella Hotel on Sentosa for talks which could see North Korea dismantle its nuclear arsenal in return for economic help and security guarantees. Now, let me say this one thing, okay? I'm not going to read through all this because, okay, we already know that this is happening. We already know what's going on, but let us not forget that this has already been settled. Remember what Q was saying quite a while ago? It's already been decided. This is just playing it out for the world stage, but it's already a done deal. So I mean, while we're on our toes and thinking, oh, I hope it turns out all right, I think it already has. I really do. I think it's already gone by. You know, I think that at this point we are observing something. We are observing the manifestation of something that took place many months ago. We're just seeing it manifest in front of our eyes right now. We didn't see that. We didn't have privilege to that because it was behind closed doors. Well, now we're going to see. But that's what I think, and that is, you know, considering things that Q has posted in the past. That's what I think. Now, as I've said before, I am not the be-all and end-all. I make mistakes frequently, and that's why I need all you guys, because you correct me in the comments, and I appreciate that. Because I learn and other people learn that are looking at it, and other people, if I say the wrong thing and somebody corrects me, then, you know, they're getting the right information down there. I do try to come back, though, and correct myself when possible. So, now the U.S. president has told reporters in Canada that he felt confident about Tuesday's talks with Kim. Well, why shouldn't he feel confident? He already knows how it's going to turn out. So and look at this. More than 2,500 journalists are in Singapore to cover the event. I sure wish I was there. I really, really do. In fact, I wish that I had driven over to where the G7 was happening. Not that I would have had any information that anybody else didn't have or couldn't get, but would have been interesting. Especially since it was not that far from where I am. I mean, it is far, but it's not real far. Okay. Kim is expected to stay at the St. Regis Hotel and Trump at the Shangri-La, both in the Tanglin area in downtown Singapore. Asked how long it would take for him to work out if Kim was serious about striking some kind of peace deal, Trump replied, I think within the first minute I'll know. It's just my touch, my feel. That's what I do. So I think he already knows, to tell you the truth. So there you go. Now let's go back. And all right. Now I got this from Twitter. Remember I said that there's just a lot of chatter out there about something big about to drop. And this is one of them. Now this person, Bill Mitchell, is the host of Your Voice America, and he wrote this on his Twitter account. Heard rumors of something big about to drop, and this was posted today, in case you're wondering, the time frame in this. Excuse me. It sounds so crazy to me, I can't say more. Reliable sources, but wow, just have to wait and see on this one. So here again is someone saying that they've heard rumors of something big about to drop, and I have as well. So now, if you guys have been following I, the Spy, and you can refer to past videos and that I talk about I, the Spy, it is I would say a Q helper. It is not Q. They have never at any time referred to themselves as Q or as part of Q. They are part of the NSA, apparently, this I, the Spy, and this person, I would say, does have some inside information. Now, how much and how accurate it is, I don't know, but none of it so far that I've seen. Now, I could have missed, in fact, I'm quite certain I've missed a lot of posts by this person. So they could have, but I have never witnessed them saying anything that's contrary to things that Q has said. So I do take them as a voice, but not the voice, and I have been listening to them. Now, I say all that to say that they have changed. They are no longer I, the Spy, and they've changed their name to the Cheshire Cat. At the Real Chess Cat. At the Real Cheshire Cat. So this is I, the Spy. And he says, boom, 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 and take their money. That's all. I heard it starting in the afternoon today. And again, this was posted today, June 10th. I heard it starting in the afternoon today, DC time. But honestly, I'm on the other side of the earth. 1 a.m. Monday here. Hard to verify anything going. It's a lot. Trust the plan either way. 6/11 is rather close. Now remember, 6/11 is when something big goes down. So we're awaiting that. We are anticipating it with a great deal of trepidation, I think, because, I am anyway, because I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm hoping it's really good. I'm hoping it just is a slam dunk, but I know we've been let down a little before, but I'm still keeping my hopes up. So, and again, down here for anyone, I put Cheshire Cat, formerly known, should be known, not knows, known as I the Spy. Now, there is other people out there saying that I the Spy is now something rogue, kill the rogue or something. He's not. This is for sure his account. I know that for a fact, okay? So that is his account, and he verifies it. I'm not sure if I've got the clip of where if I clipped it out where he verifies it or not. Hopefully I did. So let me be more specific, the Cheshire Cat says. Something big should be dropping over the next 24 hours. Certain sources are singing loudly. Now, who are those sources? I don't know. I don't know who they are, but someone is singing loudly. So something big should be dropping in the next 24 hours. This was posted today, the 10th. So now the Cheshire Cat here says, understand, the world is watching, not here, but the events in Singapore. Nothing like this has ever happened in known history. It is an enigma to the world. What will happen will shock everyone. Imagine you know nothing of Q. This is the world's view. Enjoy the show, fam. So he's talking about the events in Singapore, and he says nothing like this has ever happened in known history. It is an enigma to the world. What will happen will shock everyone. So is something that happens, is tomorrow something going to go down with Singapore? I don't know. That's the way it sounds to me, because up here he's saying something big is going to drop within the next 24 hours, but they're not set to meet in Singapore until Tuesday. Tomorrow's Monday. I know. I'm just, educating you on the days of the week free of charge. No charge for that at all. Anyway, so I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's really interesting because we've got a lot of stuff packed in a very small space of time, and I have to believe that this was planned that way. We've got the big thing that's supposed to drop tomorrow. We've got the Korean summit. Then we've got the Inspector General's report. Yeah, lots. And we don't know what's going to happen with Julian Assange. I have heard, now whether this is true or not, I don't know, but I've heard that he is in the States. So I hope so. I hope that he is. And I hope that he tells everyone about, I would think that it would be awesome if he told everyone about the murder of Seth Rich and the fact that Wiki-leaks is no longer under his control and hasn't been. I think that would be very interesting, but who knows? It could be a heck of a lot bigger than that, or it might not be. I'm just throwing things out there. Okay, here's something else from the Cheshire Cat. Supposedly, big news is happening today. DC time. Remains to be seen, though. Donald J. Trump and Kim Jong-un are both in Singapore and sleeping right now. I'm going to sleep as well. 3:40 a.m. here. Love you, fam. Catch you later. Keep the faith. Enjoy the show. And I thought this was interesting as well. I just grabbed some of his tweets that I thought were particularly compelling. Why does Hollywood need sexual assault to stay in headlines constantly now? That's a good question. Because it is. It's constantly in the headlines. Because they're in real trouble for pedophilia. Nothing blatantly distanced them from it, like pretending to champion this cause. Don't be fooled by the movie. The real devil is yet to be exposed. And I noticed that when I worked for players, and I have worked for players in the New World Order, and they did the exact same thing. The exact thing that they were involved in themselves is what they'd start preaching against. And they would start preaching against, if they were, accused of one thing, then that's what they would be preaching about that, week or month or several months, because that way, when people pointed to them as engaging in this activity, they'd say, oh, no, that's what we preach against. That's the very thing we're against. How could we be involved? And it's the same thing with these Hollywood people. They're, trying to speak out against this because then it takes the heat off of them. So people say, oh, no, that they can't be involved in that because they speak out against it. So I don't know. It's an old trick that they use, and they've used it for a very long time, and I imagine that they'll keep using it because it works. The Cheshire, it's hard for me to say, Cheshire cat. For those who doubt the BC-17 claim about Julian Assange and the 11th, Q posted extraction details December 25th. Q said pain arrives the 11th. Minus 23 from 19 equals 11. 11th is the anniversary of MIA and Julian Assange at Meltdown Festival. Julian Assange's last post was paper planes. This is just some of the evidence. Space was limited. So, let me see if I can make this a little bigger for you. I know, those little teeny weeny phones. Okay, so here is Q's. I know it's blurry and I can't do anything about that. I apologize. December 25th, and that was 2017, just this past Christmas. And Q says 10 minus 9, operational window 5-6, F Delta C 2526, secured, floor is yours, Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, kill row, confirm, white Q. And then on, I'm not really sure what that is supposed to be proving. 23rd from the 19th is, I don't know. I'm not really sure why he put this post here. Or maybe there's something I'm just not seeing. You knew when you set that trap that the pain would be delivered. 23, more evidence of foreknowledge. And then Q says, I'd watch the news that day. So that day being the 11th. So since we are anticipating something to do with Assange, I think it's important to get up to date on what's been happening with Assange. I think that's very important so that we'll be ready for the news when it drops. That's my thinking anyway. Let's be prepared. It's better to be prepared than to be squared. I have no idea why I said that or what it even means, but here we go. All right. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is willing to testify in Russian election meddling investigation, according to his associates. Now, when was this written? Well, it says Sunday, June 10th, but I'm not really sure if that's exactly when it was written. No, it was written the 26th of May, 2018. So it is pretty fresh. Fresh. Okay. I like my news fresh. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is willing to testify in Russian election meddling investigation, according to his associate. Assange's organization released thousands of emails during the election that U.S. intelligence agencies say Russian hackers stole from Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee. Now, of course, we know that's not true now. We know that they were given to him by Seth Rich, who was then subsequently murdered by MS-13 gang members, who were then subsequently murdered. So, Julian Assange is willing to speak with congressional investigators probing Russian interference in the 2016 election, an associate to WikiLeaks founder said on Friday. Randy Credico, a New York-based radio host known for serving as an intermediary between Assange and longtime Trump advisor Roger Stone, said the WikiLeaks founder recently told him he's ready to clear this whole Russia thing up. Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? Julian Assange is at the center of this, and I'm not being sarcastic there. I mean, wouldn't that be wonderful? I'm so sick of hearing about Russia that it makes me want to vomit every time I hear it, and I hear it just parroted out of the mouths of all the liberals. Oh, it's Russian, it's Russia, Russia, Russia. And I'm so sick of it. I'm really sick of it. Yeah. Anyway, Julian Assange is at the center of all this, yet no one has interviewed him. Credico told the New York Daily News he's waiting. He's been waiting all along. Credico said Assange didn't tell him what information in particular he's prepared to share with investigators. Assange would only be willing to speak to investigators if they come to the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he has been holed up since 2012 over fears of being extradited to the U.S. for leaking caches of classified material. Well, he didn't Well, he did leak the caches of classified material, but they were given to him by Seth Rich, and I think it was necessary for him to leak them. Or we would, sorry, that was my Diet Coke, which I'm really trying to stop drinking, but. Well, you can hear how that's going. So, Assange would only be willing to speak to investigators, okay, if they come to the Ecuadorian embassy. Critico said he traveled to Washington, D.C. earlier this week and informed the staff of House Intelligence Committee ranking member Adam Schiff about Assange's willingness to testify. Oh, I bet Adam Schiff just jumped right on that, right? Bet he did. Bet he didn't. I think they were shocked by the idea. Oh, I bet they were shocked by the idea. Yeah, I bet they were. Oh. The Republican-controlled House committee ended its Russia investigation earlier this year, saying it found no evidence to suggest the Kremlin meddled in the election in a deliberate attempt to get President Donald Trump elected, breaking with U.S. Intelligence Committee's unanimous assessment. The committee's Democratic minority, which vehemently opposed the Republican conclusion, has continued its investigation. Well, naturally they have. They need that boogeyman, don't they? They need that Russian boogeyman. That way it covers up all their, improprieties, I guess would be one word for it. A spokesman for the committee, Democrats, entertained Assange's offer, but appended a strict condition. Our committee would be willing to interview Julian Assange when he is in the United States custody, not before, the spokesman told the news. Assange's organization released thousands of emails during the election that U.S. intelligence agencies say Russian hackers stole. Right, it was the Russian hackers. Oh, those darn Russian hackers. They just steal everything, don't they? I bet you they stole the sandwiches right out of your refrigerator. Hate it. Hate it when you go to the refrigerator and somebody's eating your yogurt. I used to hate that about the corporate environment. I bet you the Russian hackers were right in there and stole their sandwiches and yogurt and everything. All their tasty little snacks, too. Anyway, the email dumps caused repeated embarrassments for Clinton's Democratic presidential bid. Yes, it did, didn't it? Trump, on the other hand, celebrated the leaks, proclaiming at a campaign rally in October 2016, "I love WikiLeaks." Me too. I love WikiLeaks too. I loved it more before it was compromised, but, Critico, who has interviewed Assange at the embassy in London several times, served as messenger between Stone and the WikiLeaks founder during the 2016 election. Unearthed email exchanges show Stone privately sought out damaging information about Clinton from Assange. Special counsel Robert Mueller has shown increased interest in Stone's role in the Trump campaign, interviewing a number of his associates and looking into his financial dealings, according to people familiar with the matter. Well, yes, we've got to just, criminalize as many people as we can that are on Trump's side. All right, so that's that. Just wanted to touch base there a little bit and get us up to date. And let's check this link as well. This is not new news. I realize that. However, I think it's important that we just familiarize ourselves again with it because we're awaiting something big, some big news. So, why not be up to date? Now, this is from Zero Hedge. And is the zeitgeist finally shifting in favor of Julian Assange? I would say yes. Although the phrase zeitgeist refers to the spirit of an age, it seems appropriate to use it to describe the shift in consciousness that can take place in a moment. As the 6th anniversary of Julian Assange's asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy approaches, public awareness is rapidly shifting in Assange's favor, as well it should. The ongoing isolation of Julian Assange by the Ecuadorian government appears to have bolstered sympathy for the WikiLeaks editor-in-chief worldwide, instead of relegating him to the detritus of a fast-moving news cycle. And this is 1,200 candles in front of the Australian Parliament, call to free at Julian Assange, and that's #FreeJulian. I think Julian Assange is a cutie. I don't know why, I just do. Anyway, that I just threw that in there for free. Disobedient Media recently reported on last week's Unity for Jew, I don't know where that came from, for J online vigil, which ran over 24 hours in an effort to raise awareness and to bring an end to Julian Assange's isolation. I can't even imagine. He's been there since 2012. That's a long time. That's a long time. He can't leave. Like, he can't leave. He's been in the same place. It's effectively, he's in jail. Like, I'm sure he's got a nice bed to sleep in, and whatever he needs is brought to him, but still, that can't be much of a life. Okay, where am I? Readers and viewers must understand that efforts to help do not end at the period finishing the last sentence of this article or the last guest at a vigil. Rather, readers and viewers must take up their own actions, because it is truly up to the public to fight for Assange when a unified but unelected power structure is set on destroying him and the work of the organization he leads. And that unified but unelected power structure, of course, is the deep state. As Ciaran O'Reilly puts it, he is fighting for us in there, so we have to fight for him out here. And that fight does not necessarily have to take the form of physical or online vigils, writing or speaking. There are a multitude of equally powerful actions that supporters can take to act for Julian Assange's very real benefit. Despite recent escalations in public demonstrations of support for Julian Assange and the revelation that many of Wiki-leaks' Twitter detractors may largely come from Twitter botnets, the question for some remains, how can I help Julian Assange and Wiki-leaks at this critical time? The answer to this question is manifold and includes writing letters and postcards to Julian Assange, more on that later, writing online petitions, donating to WikiLeaks, contributing to Julian Assange Legal Defense Fund, and buying from the WikiLeaks shop. Absolutely, anyone and everyone can also sign the open letters addressed to U.S. President Donald Trump, calling on him to immediately close the grand jury investigation into WikiLeaks and drop any charges against Julian Assange and other WikiLeaks staff members, which the Department of Justice is planning. The following additional thought on this subject are not intended to represent the view of WikiLeaks or anyone besides myself, and are not meant to be viewed as comprehensive or final. In my opinion, the biggest stumbling block on the front isn't a lack of tools, ability, or talents. It's a lack of imagination or self-confidence in terms of recognizing our innate gifts and re-engineering them for the Reconnect Julian effort. So I don't know. I mean, this person is obviously pro-Julian, and as am I. But I guess my whole thing is, will whatever happens tomorrow kind of do this for us? Or do we need to still be engaged in this sort of behavior? Should we, create more memes, get more attention on it? Now, Chris Hedges, Julian Assange's life is in danger. In violation of his fundamental human rights, the Ecuadorian government has transformed his asylum in its London embassy into a form of brutal incarceration. So that's interesting. Now, down here, it's not just celebrities and respected journalists speaking out on his behalf, but also ordinary people across the globe. Most recently, the World Socialist website reported that rallies will be held in Sri Lanka on June 19th, calling for the freedom of Julian Assange on the anniversary of the day he entered the embassy in 2012. In Australia, artists like Yara Spot took to the streets of Melbourne to express support for Julian Assange in the form of vibrant street art. What was particularly wonderful about Yara Spot's art was that she encouraged passersby to join and add their own messages in support of unity for Julian. The finished display was also tweeted by WikiLeaks Art Force. So this is the art. And I guess I don't have it any bigger there, so. That's not where I was. Where am I? Where did I go? Well, sorry. Let me go back here, find myself again. I hate it when I get lost. Here we go. All right. So, all sorts of people calling for his release, as they should. This is just one example of what at Elizabeth Lee Vos was saying. Do what you can, no matter how small. Over 3,000 cars pass by our street each day. On days I'm home, I'll just hang the sign. If only one person sees it and does something, that would be great. And it's a picture of this person's car, and in the back window it says "Free Julian." So, yeah. And it has his, let me see if I can get this a little bit bigger. Hang on. Because it has his address here. And I have not seen that previously, so here we go. Wise Up Action recently announced a postcard and letter writing campaign to Assange at the embassy. The public is encouraged to send postcards and letters to Julian at the following address. Now, that is something very easy that we can do to just encourage him, tell him, those of us that are believers, that we're praying for him, that we are hoping for his freedom. And, I'm sure that he would find that very encouraging, especially when you're, locked into the same place every day. Julian Assange, CO, care of, Ecuadorian Embassy, Flat 3B, 3 Hans, Hans, Crescent, London, SW1X, OLS, S as in Sam. So, that's something that we can do. And I'm not going to read all of this because it's pretty voluminous. So let's go back. And something else I wanted to visit just momentarily. I did provide you with a picture in my last video, and I said that it was Inez Zoragueta. And it's not. It's actually the picture that I showed was Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, and I apologize for that. The person that commits suicide was her sister, the Queen's sister, Inez Zoragueta, and this is her picture here. And you can see here, Dutch Queen's sister found dead at home in Buenos Aires, and she was 33. Was a psychologist who worked with the Argentinian government, and this is her picture. So I apologize. I showed I had the information right, but I had the picture wrong. So this is actual Inez Zoragueta, and I'm sorry if I mangled the Spanish there, but and she had a close relationship with Queen Maxima, apparently. So I wanted to apologize for that mistake and make it right. Now, I got this. I thought this was pretty interesting. Angela Merkel's office has released this photo taken today at the G7, which tells you a lot about how things went. Oh, yes, it does indeed. Look at all of these guys, and look at Trump. He's got his arms crossed in a kind of a stance of resolution, and so does he. Merkel here, she's looking very like she's trying to intimidate, which I don't think that would work for 1 second on Trump. But who's bullying who here? I would ask. They make it seem like Trump is bullying. Well, who's bullying who in this picture? Who's being bullied? Well, pretty evident, isn't it? So, I don't know, but I wanted to show you that, and then I wanted to show you this, and I got a chuckle out of this because I am no fan of Justin Trudeau. In fact, that would be an understatement. But look what Donald Trump tweeted. Gotta love him. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada acted so meek and mild during our at G7 meeting, only to give a news conference after I left, saying that U.S. tariffs were kind of insulting and that he will not be pushed around. Very dishonest and weak. Our tariffs are in response to his of 270% on dairy. Now, I am aware of the tariffs on dairy because I live or I was raised in Canada in a dairy producing area, a very, very heavy dairy producing area. We've got a lot of cheese factories, a lot of local farmers here, and I, for one, get my dairy fresh, and I love that. I love that about our dairy, and I like that it's protected, to tell you the truth, because while I'm here, I get fresh milk from Canadian cows, and I know that they're cows that have grazed in my immediate area, and that they are free of hormones and all the added crap, hormones and antibiotics. And so I appreciate that personally. We have our local cheese factories, and things are much more locally sourced here, and I like that. I really like that. But I do understand what Trump is saying about the tariffs, because okay, we want a tariff to protect our dairy industry. That's fine. All that's well and good. But then it is fair of Trump to impose tariffs on Canadian goods, right? So fair is fair. And I recognize that Canada is not being fair in this. I understand totally about protecting the dairy industry, and I agree, because I came from a long line of dairy farmers. So I'm particularly passionate about that. But on the other hand, then there should be tariffs placed on Canadian goods as well. Maybe not dairy, but whatever goods. So there you go. Now, here's the next one about Justin. Based on Justin's false statement at his news conference and the fact that Canada is charging massive tariffs to our U.S. farmers, workers, and companies, I have instructed our U.S. reps not to endorse the communique as we look at tariffs on automobiles flooding the U.S. market. So that's a little bit of a threat there, and yeah, okay, I recognize that as such, but it's not really a threat per se. I think it's just the bare facts. Like, I don't think Trump has empty threats that he just throws out there willy-nilly. I think that his threats are loaded, and there's a reason for it. And I think that he has every intention of doing that, putting tariffs on the automobiles. Have no doubt about that. I think he's just rattling their chains and thinking, you better think about this. Little Justin Trudeau with the eyebrow that keeps falling off. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. The guy has an eyebrow problem. Seriously. Create peace and great prosperity for this land. I look forward to meeting him, and I have a feeling that this one-time opportunity will not be wasted. Now, he's tweeting that in response to his meeting with Kim Jong-un. So then he writes, I am on my way to Singapore, where we have a chance to achieve truly wonderful result for North Korea and the world. It will certainly be an exciting day, and I know that Kim Jong-un will work very hard to do something that has rarely been done before. Interesting. So, now, let's look at this. Trudeau. He's a piece of work, he is. Seriously. No, really, he is. Yeah. Don't know quite what to say about him. Trump top advisors lash out at double-crossing Trudeau. Special place in hell for him. Well, I think that may be right, that there's a special place in hell for him, but I don't think it's because he double-crossed Trump. I think that he's involved in some things like what we've been looking into with the things we've been looking into. You know, those things. I need to be careful what I say, because right now I'm located in Canada. So I do have to be careful what I say, because it's not like living in the U.S. And those of you that have lived both places will understand fully what I'm saying. So, and I can't wait to get back to the United States. Really, I cannot. I love my country. I was born here originally, but I consider myself American, and I want to get home. All right. So, it appears the message has come down from the top. Go after Canadian PM Trudeau at all costs. Trump's top economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, outburst this morning about Trudeau's betrayal. He stabbed us in the back. Peter Navarro comments on Justin Trudeau. Guy is off his rocker. I agree. And Peter Navarro, the White House National Trade Council director, exclaimed, "There is a special place in hell for any leader who engages in bad faith diplomacy with President Trump," slamming Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau over his remarks on trade. Now, Peter Navarro comments on Justin Trudeau, "Guy is off his rocker." There's a special, okay, we just read that. That's what bad faith Justin Trudeau did with that stunt press conference. That's what weak, dishonest Justin Trudeau did. And that comes right from Air Force One, he continued. "To my friends in Canada, that was one of the worst political miscalculations of a Canadian leader in modern Canadian history." I would agree. I would agree. I don't know what you think you're doing, Justin Trudeau. I don't know what you think you're doing. But you need to stop. For real. You need to stop. You're not doing Canadians any favors, and you haven't since you've been in office. You've done everything to undermine our country that could possibly be done. Unbelievable. Trudeau, who responded last night to Trump's initial tweet, has yet to respond to the increasingly aggressive rhetoric from Trump's top advisors after a G7 summit, which certainly did not disappoint, and as many predicted would be full of thunder and fireworks, and is set to go down in the history books for the first communique that would not be endorsed by all member states since 1975, after Trump tweeted en route to Singapore that he will not endorse the final G7 statement and will look to impose tariffs on cars, potentially signaling a worsening of relationships in the brewing trade war on Sunday morning. Trump's top economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, on Sunday tore into Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, or Justin, as Trump calls him, for double-crossing President Trump with critical comments about U.S. trade policy. He was polarizing. He really kind of stabbed us in the back, Kudlow told CNN's State of the Union, adding that Trudeau did a great disservice to the whole G7. Well, what do you expect from a man who can't even wear proper socks to a summit? So, let's see what else we have here. I think that's about it. I think that's the most important part. You can look up Trudeau's, well, maybe I'll do it for you just because I'm like that. If I can find it. Twitter, oh, hang on. Trudeau's eyebrow. Hopefully I can find it, because I think that you're going to enjoy it. What's going on with Justin Trudeau's eyebrow? Well, that's a good question. What is going on with his eyebrow? Seems his eyebrow fell off during one of his, yeah. Yeah. He really likes those eyebrows. No, seriously, he does. So Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau appeared to be losing an eyebrow when speaking with reporters on Thursday at the G7 summit. French President Emmanuel Macron and Trudeau addressed reporters at the summit, and Trudeau trashed the United States for implementing new metal tariffs on U.S. allies. However, Twitter users pointed out that during his screed, it looked like he may have been losing a fake eyebrow. And he was. Let's see.
I have consistently stood up for Canadian.
I'm not going to, in case it's copyrighted, so I'm just going to show it to you. Now, if that's not losing an eyebrow, I don't know what is. The man's got fake eyebrows. So, you know, the thing is, Justin, really, like, there's lots of places now where you can get microblading of your eyebrows and nobody will even know. You won't have to put on fake eyebrows. You won't have to pencil them in, nothing. It's called microblading. Sure, it's a little bit expensive, but you can afford it. All right, so that is where I am tonight. I'm going to stop there. I do have other things to bring to you, but I'm going to wait and possibly do another video tonight, and possibly not. It just depends on what's happening and what's going on out there. So I'm keeping an eye out. Well, not literally, because that's very painful, but I am keeping a watch out for new Q posts and any other additional information that I think would be critical for you to understand and me to understand. So there you go. Now, you know the games that YouTube plays with subscribers. So if you want to be subscribed, make sure that you are subscribed and that you stay subscribed, because they continually drop people from my list. And if you want to be informed of new videos, make sure you hit the bell. And that's about it. And I enjoyed talking to you guys, and I'll come back maybe later tonight, or if not, definitely tomorrow. I hope that you guys have a wonderful Sunday evening and that you stay safe.